Thank you for tuning in to the Student Organization Summit. Make sure to follow us on social media and check out the many other videos on this channel about working with and advising student organizations. And now, please enjoy your workshop.
Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Chantea Swinson-Rowe, Coordinator for Student Clubs and Organizations at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Today, I will be discussing with you about student organization councils. A few quick facts about North Carolina A&T State University. We were founded March 9th, 1891. We are a public four-year institution under the UNC system. We are a historically Black college and university, or HBCU. We are the largest HBCU in the nation. We are also the #1 producer of African-American graduates in engineering and agriculture. We currently have a total enrollment of 12,556 students. We have 160 student organizations. We utilize the student engagement platforms Anthology, Engage, and GitPost. A few facts about me as your presenter. I was born and raised in North Carolina. I have received my undergraduate degree from the University of North Carolina at Pembroke. I have received my graduate degree from the University of North Carolina at Wilmington. I enjoy photography, painting, and cooking. Professionally, I am affiliated with the National Association of Campus Activities, or NACA, NASPA, the Student Affairs Administrators in Higher Education, and Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. For the past 3 years at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, I have served as the coordinator for student clubs and organizations and the direct advisor for our student organization council, the Council of Presidents. Along with my numerous job responsibilities, I also oversee 3 budgets, including the Cost of Student Activities Fund. So again, today we will be discussing student organization councils. A few takeaways from this conversation. We'll be exploring the functionality of a student organization council if your university does not have one, how we utilize our student organization councils for assessment, the impact of being on a student organization council, and then program ideas for student organization councils. Here at North Carolina A&T State University, our student organization council is referred to as the Council of Presidents. They make up 6 executive board positions, but the entire council is filled with presidents and vice presidents of all of our registered student organizations. These presidents and vice presidents are required to attend a monthly meeting held by the Council of Presidents. They are required to attend 2 annual retreats, one in the fall semester, one in the spring semester. They have to turn in 2 mandatory reports, a mid-year report and an end-of-year report. The Council of Presidents Executive Board oversees any fines or penalties that are deemed to the registered student organizations. They also approve all of our flyers for our student organizations, as well as covering the funding approvals and registration fees. The Council of Presidents Executive Board also oversees the COP internship program as well. One thing that I also want to mention is that the people who make up the Council of Presidents Executive Board also serve as either a current or a previous president or vice president to any of our registered student organizations on campus. And they are voted in by the body of presidents. That also applies to our Joint Greek Council, or our combined Greek affiliated council here at A&T, which makes up of 8 executive board members who have either spent a semester to a year within their respective fraternity or sorority. The Joint Greek Council represents all fraternities and sororities at North Carolina A&T State University. They are based on the principles of brotherhood/sisterhood, scholarship, service, dedication, and community. The Joint Greek Council oversees 2 mandatory retreats, one at the fall semester, one in the spring semester for all of our new members. They have required monthly meetings for the full Greek body. They have president's roundtables. And then all of our fraternities and sororities are also a part of our Greek scorecard, which is our standards of excellence and improvement for the fraternity and sorority community. And the Joint Greek Council oversees any fines or penalties as it relates to our fraternities and sororities at North Carolina A&T. Another thing that I will mention about both councils is that all of our presidents and vice presidents that are a part of the Joint Great Council for our fraternities and sororities are also a part of the Council of Presidents. So they have double duty responsibilities by attending both the Council of Presidents and the Joint Great Council meetings. So again, we know that at every institution and or department, these councils can serve numerous functionalities. Here at North Carolina A&T, our student organization councils serve as the advocates, assistants. They aid in communication with the large body of students that they serve. They assist with community service and the community welfare of the groups. They help provide us with feedback for the organizations. They assist with funding and governance. They provide leadership education to those that they serve. They also put on programs for the bodies that they serve. They serve as a resource and of risk management to our organizations. They come together through shared interest, student engagement, and support. One of the biggest ways that we utilize the support of the councils is through our assessment with the councils. So what we have found is that students typically join organizations because and through first year seminars and experiences during their freshman year to gain a sense of belonging, for common intellectual experiences for our academic-based organizations, through our learning communities, the chance to have active and collaborative learning, so taking what they've learned inside of the classroom and applying it outside of the classroom, to further their undergraduate research, to assist in diversity and global learning, to aid in service learning, and as a part of any internships that they may have. When we look and have done assessment within our students who are a part of the councils and those student organizations, we learned that they tend to develop the skill sets of having transferable skills. They like aiding in the policy and procedure development changes. They further their own growth and leadership development. Being a part of these organizations and these councils have assisted them with time management, along with communication. They have the ability to work with others in a light or in a way that they haven't before. They gain networking and professional opportunities. Typically, the students who are involved in these councils are the first students we look to as it pertains to feedback. So they get to assist with that. They have a new financial responsibility and time balance. They have gained team building skills, again, working with students that they might not have countered on a typical or day-to-day basis had they not been a part of the councils. And then it aids in their self-confidence and self-exploration as students. When we looked at this feedback from the students who are a part of the councils, we really wanted to take a dive in to where the councils could grow and the bodies that they serve. So a few areas of growth for our student organization councils is having honest communication and relationship building. The executive board for these councils are also typically friends with the students who are part of these organizations. And so sometimes communication is an issue. So we're just trying to build that along with having honest communication with faculty and or staff about how they feel like they're being represented. So we feel like we can bridge that gap a little bit better to make our organizations continue to grow. This also goes into establishing trust. Sometimes we do not typically share things with our students that we could and vice versa because the trust levels are just not there. So that's an area of growth that we can use for our student organization councils. Ethical leadership versus relational leadership is one that we see our students struggle with the most. So being able to actually separate the friendships and the business aspects of being being a part of these councils is something that we feel like we can bridge. Succession planning and development is something we've realized that a lot of our student organizations don't have. There's no legacy plan or sharing of information. And so typically that makes it hard for the next president or vice president, and even secretaries and treasurers sometimes. So developing more and stronger succession plans and development tools for our student organization councils to provide their bodies. As I mentioned before, to share or not to share is something that we kind of coined and turned um, for an area of growth. But typically, when we share things with the councils, presidents struggle with either they should share this with their organizations or not to share it. Even though it's all information that they can share, sometimes they struggle with the balancing lines. And so we want to amend those for an area of growth that these and the council is here for it as a resource tool. So please sharing the information is helpful for all organizations involved. Another area of growth that we really want to strengthen is our advisor/advisement style for our organizations. Because all of our student organizations are required to have a full-time faculty or staff member serve as their advisor to be a registered student organization. Typically, advisement styles differ across organizations. And so we want to bridge that gap and make sure that we are all using one voice as a university, because when our students hear different information, they often get lost and or confused, which also aids in our next area of growth is consistent messaging and expectations. Our student organizations, although they are primarily housed under the Office of Student Activities and the Council of Presidents, they also report to about three other offices on the campus as it relates to scheduling, fundraising, and community service. And so we want to make sure that we are speaking again with one voice. And so sometimes that can get lost in communication. So we can truly grow in the area of consistent messaging and expectations of our student organizations and our councils. And then our last area of growth that we truly see is requesting and utilizing assessment data. As an Office of Student Activities, we truly do utilize the assessment data, but we want to share that out more with our student organizations to get them to utilize feedback in order to grow their organizations. And so we are developing tools and techniques for them to utilize assessment and how they can utilize our current student engagement platforms to gain the assessment that they need in order to grow their organizations. While we do note these areas of growth for our student organization councils, we also want to reflect on how being a part of a student organization council has impacted the students who served on them. So on the screen, I have a few pictures of the executive boards from both the Council of Presidents and the Joint Greek Council. And so not only has being on the student organization councils increased their social capital, but a lot of them join because they want to be a part of positive change for the campus and for all students involved in organizations. They see the potential growth opportunities for themselves, and also how they can make student organizations better and grow their own leadership. They want to actually display and provide full support and advocacy for student organizations, but especially those who may not always have the necessary resources or receive the necessary resources to assist them in reaching their greatest potential. And then overall, a lot of the students who join these councils truly want to see a change in the way that the councils either operate to, again, assist the individual organizations that they are either a part of or things that they have seen as students over the years. They have grown in the areas of professionalism and being able to conduct and be a part of meetings with some of the top university officials to see the larger picture of how all of the policies and procedures work and why they're in place. So that has been a strong impact for those who are a part of these student organizations. For some of them, it's also increased their level of creativity and or large scale programming. Is some of the first time that they get to experience that, being able to provide services for an entire university population and coming up with creative ways to involve the numerous fraternities and sororities that we have, along with our student organizations as well. And lastly, for our students who are involved in these student organization councils, it not only has impacted them, but the organizations that they are a part of benefit because they have a direct connection or a direct person that they can reach out to for any questions or concerns that they may have. So next and lastly, we will kind of go over a few program ideas that we have for our student organization councils and the things that they have put on over the years. So of course, like many universities, we do student organization fairs. Our student organization council is also in charge of providing constitution workshops, marketing workshops. They do mindfulness and relaxation workshops because we have received that a lot of times presidents are stressed out and people who are part of organizations are stressed out. So we now have incorporated mindfulness and relaxation workshops. They provide funding workshops in order to access the cost of student activities fund, but also how to budget within their organizations as they collect dues and things of that nature. We do program planning workshops so that they can prepare for the academic year. We have put on a fashion show that involves all of our student organizations. We host Trunk or Treat. We do President's Oval, which gains insight to how to be a president of a student organization and what that impact has on different student leaders across campus. We do Meet the Greeks, along with Hazing Prevention Week. We do step shows and stroll offs. The Joint Greek Council is very good at putting on this Men's and Women's Appreciation Day for the entire campus, which is really cool. We also host Black, Greek, and Gay in order to kind of mend and bring together our national Black fraternities and sororities along with the LGBTQIA community. And then we also assist with leadership transitions and community service, as stated before. These are just a few program ideas that we do with our student organization councils. And so I would be very interested in hearing what your organizations do or your different campus programs do as well with your student organization councils. So again, thank you for joining me in this session today regarding student organization councils. Please leave your thoughts or comments via the YouTube chat or look at the workshop schedule that will direct you to a Zoom room for question and answers. Thank you all for joining me today.
Thanks for tuning in to the Student Organization Summit. If you're watching this live, feel free to reference the schedule for the day and use the link in the schedule to access a Q&A room where you can ask questions or chat with the presenters from this workshop. If they didn't list a Q&A link, or you're watching this video after the event, thank you for your interest in the Student Organization Summit.